This happened a few years ago when I was living alone in a ground floor apartment. The building was old, the kind with creaky floors and thin walls, and my bedroom window faced the back alley. The window only had these cheap blinds that never really closed properly. If someone stood outside and leaned close enough, you could see right in. Most nights I didn't think about it. The alley was usually dark and empty, and I figured no one ever walked back there. But one night I was up late scrolling on my phone when I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. A shadow moved across the window. I froze, telling myself it was just my imagination. But then I looked up, and that's when I saw him. There was a man standing right outside, just a few feet from me. His face particularly pressed against the glass. His hood was pulled up, and his breath was fogging the window. The blinds only covered part of the glass, so I could see half of his face, the pale skin, the wide, unblinking eyes staring directly into my room. For a few seconds, I couldn't move. My body went cold, like I was paralyzed. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't saying anything. He was just standing there, silently watching me. Finally, I snapped out of it and grabbed my phone, fumbling to dial 911. The second I lifted it, the man's expression changed without a word. He turned and walked into the darkness of the alley. By the time police arrived, he was gone. They searched the area, but of course found nothing. I barely slept that night. I kept the lights on, checking the window every few minutes, half expecting to see the face again. The next morning, I finally worked up the courage to pull up the blinds, and that's when I saw it, scratched into the outside of the glass in messy letter. A single word. So, my best friend Emily passed away in a car accident last year. She was only 21. We had been inseparable since high school, particularly sisters. Losing her was like losing a part of myself. For days I couldn't eat or sleep. My phone kept lighting up with old pictures, old texts, reminders of plans we never got to keep. About a week after the accident, something happened that I still can't explain. It was around 1 in the morning. I was laying in bed, staring at the ceiling when my phone started buzzing. I looked at the screen and my heart nearly stopped. It was Emily's number. At first I thought maybe it was our family. Maybe they had not turned off her phone yet. But who calls at 1:13 a.m.? Against my better judgment, I answered. At first all I heard was static. Not the kind of static you hear when a call drops, but deep, heavy, almost like wind rushing through the speaker. I whispered, "Hello." My voice was shaking. There was silence for a few seconds. Then, faintly, I heard it, a whisper. It said my name. It was Emily's voice. I swear on my life, it sounded exactly like her. Soft but urgent, like she was right there on the other end. I sat straight up in bed, clutching the phone with both hands, whispering, Emily, Emily, is that you? For a while, there was nothing but that strange, distorted static, and then the voice came again, clearer this time. It said, don't go to the funeral. The line cut out immediately after. I tried calling the number back over and over, but every time it went straight to voicemail. The next day was the funeral. I wanted to ignore what happened, tell myself it was just my mind playing tricks on me. But the fear was too strong. At last second, I couldn't do it. I stayed home. That afternoon, I got a call from my mom. Her voice was panicked. On the way to the funeral, a car hit a patch of black ice and crashed into a line of vehicles. Several people were injured. One of the cars involved was the one my family was supposed to be in. If I had gone, I would have been in that car. To this day, I did not know if it was a glitch or some twisted prank, or if Emily somehow found a way to reach me from the other side. But I do know one thing, that phone call saved my life, and I have never once heard from her number again. A couple of years ago, I was on a road trip that stretched longer than I expected. Around midnight, I decided I was too tired to keep driving. The only place nearby was a rundown roadside motel. The kind with peeling paint, buzzing neon lights, and a clerk who looked like he had not smiled in years. I paid cash for a single room and carried my bag upstairs. The hallway smelled like mildew and the carpet squished under my shoes like it had not dried properly after a spill. My room was small, with a single bed, a flickering lamp, and a closed door that did not quite close all the way. But I was exhausted, so I locked the door, turned off the light, and lay down. At some point during the night, I woke up to a sound. It was faint at first, like soft tapping. I sat up, listening, then I realized I wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from inside the room, more specifically from the closed. 3 slow, deliberate knocks, silence, then again. 3 more. My entire body froze. I told myself it was probably just the beeps, or maybe something shifting inside. But the knocks were too distinct, too human. I turned on the lamp, my hands shaking, and stared at closed door. It was slightly open, just a creak. After about minutes of dead silence, I forced myself to get up. I grabbed the motel's cheap metal hanger from the rack, like that would do anything, and in one motion, I yanked the closed door wide open. Nothing, just an empty close. My chest was pounding, but eventually I convinced myself it was all in my head. I shut the door, double-checked the room lock, and I got back into bed. Sometime later, just as I was drifting off, I heard it again, but this time it wasn't knocks. It was a voice from inside the closet, whispering just one sentence. Check under the bed. My blood ran cold. Every instinct into me screamed not to move, not to look, just to run. But something compelled me. I slowly leaned over the edge of the bed, my heart hammering louder than the clock on the wall. And that's when I saw it. On the far side of the bed, just barely sticking out from the shadow, was a pale, bony hand, motionless, fingers curled around the floor, like it had been reaching for me while I slept. I didn't hesitate. I bolted from the room, bag in hand. I didn't stop running until I was back in my car. I drove half the night, not even caring how tired I was. The motel charged me for the room, but I didn't care. I never went back for a refund, and I never will. To this day, when I stay in hotels, I never sleep until I have checked both the closet and under the bed.